Gombart is passionate about helping others get good at change in an ever increasing complex world. She has a background in software engineering and has held many roles and titles from programmer to QA lead, product owner, scrum master, project manager, agile coach, enterprise agile coach, professional coach, instructor, change management, and so on. The list is endless at this moment. And she is curious and has a real thirst to learn and expand her knowledge repeatedly. Her mission is to support forward thinking leaders, and she blends human centric strategies with efficient practices to foster resilient business growth and purpose driven change, ensuring sustainable client value, which is one of the most important aspects of this 21st century. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, agile journeys from code to coaching across continents. Here's an exciting twist. First, let us tickle Diane's brain. So, Dan, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you are ready, let's get started.
Perfect. Let's start.
I love the energy, and here comes the first word: curiosity.
Story of my life.
Invention.
Woman.
I have 5 women surrounded by me, so you can imagine a lot of invention is happening here.
Yes, like it's crazy. I think women are not recognized enough for invention. Of course, I'm a strong advocate for women rights, and it's like, yeah, woman's invention sounds good.
Got it. Next is future.
Wow, challenges. Future is gonna be challenging.
Book.
Lord of the Rings. I'm a nerd. It's my favorite ever.
Yeah. Next is past.
Oh, past lessons. We cannot go in the future if we don't have the lessons.
True. Agreed. And next is universe.
Fascinating. Scary as well.
Leadership.
Oh, it's for everyone. Everyone is a leader.
Aliens.
E.T.
Success.
It can be everywhere and different than the mainstream narrative.
Amazing. And the last one is change.
Oh, change for me means need to build resilience.
Awesome. And before I welcome you to the show, first of all, thank you for participating in the first rapid fire round. There is second one waiting towards end of the episode. And let me welcome the audience. So folks, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I am your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life, but also to your career. And thank you so much for tuning in. Dan, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. How are you today?
I'm really great. And I'm really, really excited for this conversation. Thank you so much, Naveen, for having me. It's really, really a pleasure, to be here with you and hopefully having some conversation. And I hope as well, the persons that will listen to us will have a great time.
Absolutely. And I'm super thrilled to discuss this topic with you, and let's get started. So we'll begin with your success mantra. So please share with us the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
So the first one for me is definitely around curiosity. So that's kind of super interesting, when you ask the first rapid word, curiosity, and I said straight away story of my life, because it is actually, I think I always tried to question and understand more of the world, the social dynamics, the why of things. And yeah, I always say I'm like a cat. I'm as curious as a cat. I would say as well, the second would be resilience, the capacity to recover after a difficult situation. I think life has been, has thrown stones at me. So I think the second one is definitely resilience, which kind of help of navigating complexity. And I have to acknowledge as well some things, about the third, which is luck. And I think it's not acknowledged enough, I got lucky. I got lucky that I met the right people at the right time, that they, opened my curiosity, and I was like, oh, why not I should go this path compared to an over conventional path. And I have to say as well that I got lucky that I was born, in a powerful country with a strong passport. And so it allows me to travel as well, the world nowadays. And that's something, I think we don't recognize enough. So we have to recognize, like when we are lucky.
Absolutely. And incidentally, I read an article which was an excerpt from Indra Nui, the former CEO of PepsiCo. She has also mentioned in her book, no matter how much hard work I put, still luck has played a favor, right? So luck has played a key role in terms of she scaling up the corporate ladder and getting into that pivotal career position, right? Great. And
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad you mentioned about luck, and which many people overlook, right? We often overlook about luck, but luck also plays a critical role. Awesome. So now let's talk about your journey back, right? A pivotal moment in France, which actually sparked your interest in technology and programming. So please share about it.
Woo. So I've left France more than 10 years ago. And so for the listeners, yes, I am French. This is the French accent that like you can hear as well. um, so I think the pivotal moment really was really like at university. After a couple of like hiccups, I was like at the university. I was studying physics and chemistry, and it's not that like I don't like, for example, physics and chemistry per se. I think they are really amazing, actually, like domain. And nowadays I'm going back toward it because it's just like amazing. But the way it was taught, the way I was learning, I just hated it. And
Mm.
I didn't know what to do with my life. And I was like, I don't want to be a teacher of physics and chemistry. This is not for me. And so it turned out basically that I was spending a lot of time on my computers. Like I was watching like almost like devouring, like mangas, anime series, and kind of like being like a lot of my computer. So and I after some research and being okay, after a few months, this is enough. You need to find something to do. I discovered there was a bachelor degree in programming. I had barely ideas about programmation, and I just decided to jump on it. So yeah, it's basically the story of, oh, there was light on, like people seems nice. I knocked on the door and I went and see.
Got it. And also, let's now focus on the cultural adjustment part. Like, you have moved from France to Ireland and then to Spain, and currently you are in Argentina, right? So, how are these experiences influencing your professional journey?
Well, that's a big question and a big topic. And it is really an interesting one. I think I had like several cultural shocks starting living in Ireland in 2013. The first one is kind of like a funny one, but the first one was related to food.
Mhm.
So one of the thing, for example, with Ireland, I was like working in an organization where people were eating in 30 minutes. That's impossible in France. You don't eat in 30 minutes because it's a time when you socialize, when you build as well, like a relationship at work. So for example, the way we build relationship at work, I learned that in countries it's really like different,
Yeah.
depending on that kind of moment. For example, when like the social moment that you share, so it had to be made in other ways. The way as well, like France is really peculiar in the way of giving feedback or receiving feedback. That was a big cultural shock when I worked with Irish people, with Americans. Then when I moved in Spain, the way we do work in Spain is different as well compared to France. I could arrive, in the office when I was working in the office like later. That was
Mhm.
really great. I'm not a morning person, and even now, like I can see. So you mentioned I'm in Argentina. I'm in Argentina for this month of March, and yeah, I'm seeing some, like things that are different. I'm seeing as well like the same themes over and
Mhm.
over again. I think what really inspired me in the end, in my professional journey is this kind of like building this awareness of taking into account as well the multicultural aspect when you work and when you travel as well, and that it is a strength. It is a strength because some things that I will see over people from other countries, over cultures, will see differently. And it's really when we have this safe space being created and we can exchange and bounce ideas, then it's like it's enriching everyone. And then the best ideas for me are really, coming from diversity of thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the more diverse the team is, we can learn a lot of aspects, and especially when you're working with people from different countries, I think the learning will be enormous. And today I got to know about having full hour lunch. That is what you guys prefer in France, right?
Oh yeah, like when I was working in France, it's an hour and a half, like for lunch, because you need time to socialize, and it's reinforcing the trust actually of people that you worked with. Yeah.
I get it. Okay. Now, looking at your roles that you have taken, right? Initially, you started as a programmer and then to QA lead, and now more into strategic role like enterprise agile coach and many other strategic roles that you have taken up, right? So, what were the key skills or insights you gained overall during this evolution?
So I think some of the key skills or insight is really like why I transitioned from programming to QA. And I mean, to be fair, I was a terrible programmer. So I I was really terrible at programming, but I always had a knack actually to find things that were not working. Overpath, exploring. I guess there was like, recurring theme of like the curiosity and the what if. But when I transitioned in becoming a QA, I became a bridge as well. And it's something that is a kind of like naturally in me. And maybe it's due to curiosity again. I love to talk with people, So I was working with people from the States, from Ireland, from India as well, tech, business, over QAs. And I was always putting people in relationship, and even somehow, even if we were all speaking English and the same languages, I was translating, being the bridge between the needs of the business that for sometimes don't understand the technology side, and translating the needs of technology that sometimes like don't grasp enough the need of the business. So I would say over the years, really, some of the key skills that I built will be around navigating uncertainty, which come through building resilience, trying new things, experiments, fails to safe, listening as well. I would say the moment I stopped wanted really to convince people, and the moment I really dedicate more time to truly listen, then it was a game changer. And it's something that it seems silly, easy, but it makes all the difference. There has never been someone that told you, "Oh, stop listening to me." Like I can't bear it anymore. I think we all crave in the world to be truly more listened to. I would say as well over things that goes, in the same lines, the power of visualization and really taking time to build desires in people for implementing change. In the end, when we work together in the teams, when we want to do things better, when we even try to develop, implement a product, there's a desire to change. There's a desire to bring change and a better life for people, for customers, and for us while we do things.
Amazing. So let's move forward and talk about this Agile and Scrum methodologies. In fact, I was introduced to them in 2011, and at that time, not many organizations were keen in terms of implementing Agile and Scrum. And by the time it became mainstream, or by the time more and more people started adopting it, I moved to quality role in terms of driving operational excellence and other driving strategic initiatives. So I would like to understand from you where you could share an instance where implementation of Scrum led to a significant turnaround in a project or a team that you are part of.
I can think about Ireland actually, which is where I started truly to work with Scrum. So we started on a project that evolved later on toward more like a product type solution, and when I arrived on the project, it was kind of like a proof of concept, something like this, and it was thought to be abandoned after a few months. But one of I think the key things that we really succeeded in implementing Scrum was to involve, the people from all parties. So the business, the tech, the QA as well. And because we were all of us distributed. So that was challenging, especially, to build a team. But we were as well the first team to integrate as part of our team the vendor completely. So the vendor was based in India. That was more the QA part. And at the beginning was completely siloed. And I lobbied with the management in the US to be no, we have to integrate them to the team, because otherwise it's kind of there's a barrier and there's a cost of delay to have feature being tested, and I need them to test with me ahead of time and talk more with the developers and with business as well about what we want to do. And so that's what we did. And in the end, that's where we were successful. And we were successful that the project that was thought at the beginning to be abandoned was actually transitioned into a product solution where we successfully scaled with additional teams. And I saw some of my former colleagues, climbing the ladder and shining as well. And that was beautiful to me, because I was those people are better than me. I want to see them shine. And so, yeah, that's where actually I think the framework of Scrum helped really to enhance this, involvement of all parties, regardless of location, by the way.
Yeah, got it. And in your journey towards becoming more interested in driving organizational change and also getting into professional coaching, was there a particular event or a realization or a moment of truth that acted as a catalyst for this shift?
I think it's really so I'm quite a really curious person, as I said, and I like to understand the roots and causes, for things. I think one key thing that motivated me to work more with organizational change and professional coaching was two things. First of all, it's the realization that without organizational support, without leadership support, without, for example, HR support as well, the capacity of change inside teams of improvement is limited. It's limited by the organizational, cultural, actually, elastic bands. If we picture an organization as kind of a big circus, we would have an elastic band around it. And then when a team try to do things differently, it can work to some ways inside the team. But as soon as they will try to go outside, the elastic band of the culture of the organization will come back and snap basically at any change that they are trying to undertake. So I think that's what, really motivated me to work as well at organizational level, and now I can work as well, with teams, where I really love to work with teams, and I can work with leaders and an organization. And so that's the first thing that motivated me, really desired, to tackle complex, actually, a challenge and impediment. And the second is the realization that I cannot change people. I can't convince people. And I always say, when I have training with other people, have you tried to change a teenager? Did you ever succeed? And the answer is always, some laugh and smile and being, oh, hell no. I'm so why would we succeed in changing people in organization if we cannot change a teenager?
Yeah.
And so that's where for me the professional coaching part is coming. And I found actually it's one of the most agile process in a way, because it's really about the growth of individual. And for me as a professional coach, to join people in this growth, to provide a safe space where they can just bloom. Yeah. And I think that's really those two parts that motivated me.
Yeah, got it. Diane, you have observed that 70% of change initiatives fail, right? So, from
Yeah.
your perspective, what are the most common pitfalls that organizations fall into when attempting to implement change?
So I think a lot of the pitfalls is first concentrating the effort on changing processes over building understanding of why, for example, we need to change. And so taking into account the human change process is most of the time overlooked. I know that like in a lot of organization, we talk about quick wins, we need, like quick result or something like that. And the two of them are not incompatible, actually. You can get, I think, like some wins that will motivate the rest of the organization to change. But I think we really need to work more, concentrate the effort on building momentum, building the desire for change in a lot of part of the organization, in a significant percentage of the organization. And that's kind of like working as well with employees' engagement. And I think in the world right now, we have an engagement, a crisis engagement at work globally. The majority of employees in the world are not engaged at work. And that's terrible. Like we're missing on so many brain potential, and I think that's really around that. It's like taking into account the human change process, and it's not incompatible with profit targets or with a need for results. It's just that, like, yes, it is a different way.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's dive into this aspect of human aspect, right? So considering the readiness for change and the human aspect are often overlooked. So can you share with us some practical strategies or methodologies that address these issues effectively?
So the first thing is like I think there's a lot of organization that they don't know if they are ready for change.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, I mean, what is the current stress level in the organization?
Yeah.
What is the current utilization, with some quotes, of people? We are not computers, right? We cannot be used at 95%, 90%, 100%. So it's like, what is the current level of stress in the organization? If you are too stressed, you are not going to be able to change because of like the way the brain works, basically. And I would say there's fantastic people as well that work with the brain, with nutrients. I'm thinking about the Dr. Delia McCabe, for example. And it's really interesting, the thing that I learned about stress, what it does to our brain. And that's this part really, that in organizational change, I think we need to spend a little bit of time to assess the readiness for change. Are we ready for change? Do we allow people to be ready for change? And it works as well for leaders. Are they ready to change? Do they have their stress level that is at an amount that there's still brain capacity to change? There's two models that are kind of like really interesting as well for me in building awareness about the need to take account the human change process in organizational change. It's like the SCARF model from David Rocks and the SPACE model from Hilary Scarlett. It's really models that helps to look at how are we currently communicating, transmitting our intention to implement change, to not trigger, our survival instinct or threat process. Then I would say, of course, we can think about, like organizational change model like Kotter or Atka from ProSci that helps as well to plan the change. But one of the things that I would like to add is, like, I think those models, they need to be enriched with explicit feedback loops. Because there's one thing that I noticed. It's like sometimes we plan change with, oh yeah, we want feedback loops.
Yeah.
But we're not intentional enough about them, right? It's like they're not written, they're not explicit enough. And here I would say, for any type of change, regardless of any type of framework people would use, is like, make sure you make feedback loop explicit, that you will assess how you progress in implementing the change, and that you are able to readjust the direction as needed.
Yeah, got it. Now let's double click on the resistance to change within the organizations. I think that is the most common thing which almost every organization faces, right? So I would like to hear from you a success story where you have helped an organization or a team overcome such resistance.
So I think the first thing really to overcome resistance is around approaching with people with curiosity, observations, asking question about their work, what it is right now, what it is, that like they don't like, for example. Doing some assessment as well, which is one of the things that I did in an organization. I worked in this organization where with the CTO, we reorganized and helped actually the engineering and product department. And I swear, when I was entering the department, my survival instinct was almost kicked in straight away, saying, run. Because the atmosphere, the vibes was horrible. People didn't talk to each other. It was like dead quiet. But when I started to really first, before implementing any change, approach people with curiosity, assuming good intentions, helping them visualize how they were doing things, helping, like asking them their data, their input, and being, all right, where do we start? Because things are not going well, right? And everyone was able to say, like, yeah, it's awful, actually. I hate it. And so we actually started, together to change things. And I propose things and I tell them, and I ask them, all right, do you want to try that? Are you on board? And at some point I ask as well, guys, do you trust me enough for this? And when I really build trust by my approach, and not being like, all right, we're going to change and we're going to do that. And in the end, it was amazing, the transformation, because after 3 months already, you had chatters a little bit everywhere, right? The environment was way more vibrant. There was way more like brainstorming you could hear, and you could see people between, the engineers and the product people. They were talking back to each other. And just this, it was a huge signal that we're like, we are going into the right direction. And we started to get things out of the door.
Got it. Awesome. This is insightful conversation and personally a lot to learn from you. And it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. If you're ready, I'll kick off the second rapid fire round.
All right. Okay.
Okay, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
That's a big one, actually. I think I would say, like, we are sometimes wrong and it is okay.
Oh, yeah. I think it is okay to be wrong. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you were given a chance to swap your life with an animal, what would it be and why?
Oh my God, I know it straight away. I want to be a domestic chunky cat.
Okay. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
I think, I'm tempting to say energetic, but it's kind of like doesn't encapsulate, like the whole thing. So because we talked about cat before, I would put cat as well. I'm a cat in the sense that, like, I'm energetic, but I love to nap as well, and I love to eat. I don't know.
Okay. And what is the most unusual item you carry with you while traveling?
So I have a bunch of postcards to give to my mom. My mom has a lot of stuff in her place, and I know she loves postcards. So I'm going to some places and buy postcards when I see them. So I have a bunch of postcards that I will never send, and I will just give them as a present to my mom.
Nice. And what is the most daring thing that you have ever done?
I think living, quitting, it's kind of like, sometimes there's this sentence saying like, oh, quitting is for loser. I don't agree with that. It's like, sometimes like you need to live for your own sake to discover new things.
Yeah, agreed. And here comes the last bullet. What is one electronic gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
I would love a teletransportation gadget, like that would like facilitate my life in the travels. But maybe as well, like something more realistic. Maybe, I don't know, a health check gadget, like something that I could just like check, and it will give me like all, like my analytics, and I would not need to go to doctors, because sometimes, traveling and go to doctors is a little bit more complicated.
Good one. And we wish that teletransportation or the teleportation comes true in our lifetime. And Dan, let's flip back to the mainstream. This is my last but one question. So, finally, for those interested in becoming great change agents or agile coaches, what advice would you give them to start on this particular path?
I would say the first thing is definitely like be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Be curious. Be ready to be challenged in the foundation, in the core belief, of what you have been taught and learned during your whole life at schools. That be challenged in the sense that like we don't need to be a hero. Get mentors as well. Get
Okay.
mentors, if possible. Get a coach. Um, go beyond the framework, the courses. Go toward what makes sense actually. And I would say as well, love it. Like keep the love inside you, spread the love as well about all of that. Be intentional about it. Don't be afraid about it. It's easier to say than to do. So yeah, if some, for example, like listeners, like they need help, or they are curious, or they want to know more, I really encourage as well, like people, like to come learn with me, or to contact me directly. And because I know as well, like I partner with amazing people. So yeah, we can help. We can help definitely.
Superb. So, for those of you who are interested to connect with Dan, you'll find her LinkedIn profile or the coordinates she would like to share, and definitely leverage this particular opportunity to get mentored by her or get some assistance. And Dan, this has been amazing conversation, and I loved every insight that you have shared. Thank you so much. And how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice platform?
Oh, amazing. I love it. I love it. Like 5-star on TripAdvisors. We'll
Oh
do
my
it
God.
again.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to hosting you again in the future. And I really
Me too.
appreciate you taking time for joining me and sharing amazing insights with the TGV family. All right, superb.
Thank you, Naveen. It's been
Thank-
amazing.
Yeah, sure. So, friends, that was our episode with Diane Gombart. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you haven't already subscribed to the Guiding Voice podcast, please subscribe now from wherever you have tuned in, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And if you have enjoyed this conversation and found it useful, please share with at least three of your friends or colleagues who would also like the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now let's cruise into the trivia segment. We have had amazing conversation with Dion on the enterprise agile coach, how to drive change, and many more aspects. And I'm here to present you a few less known facts about change management, which are going to complement what Diane has already shared. First one is the roots of change management. Change management traces its roots back to Kurt Lewin, a German American psychologist who developed the three-stage model of change in the 1940s: unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. And this foundational concept emphasizes the need for preparing organizations for change, making the changes, and also solidifying these changes into the culture. And the term resistance to change was also coined by Kurt Lewin, highlighting the natural tendency of individuals and organizations to resist changes that disrupt their current routines or beliefs. And this insight led to the development of strategies to manage and reduce resistance, making it a central theme in change management theory. The Oetker model, developed by Prosky, is a widely used framework in change management. If you recall, Diane has already covered a bit of it. Let me dive deep into it. This Adkar model focuses on the five key elements needed for successful change: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. It represents a shift towards recognizing the individual steps necessary for successful organizational change. Likewise, if you are aware of any other models which are helping you in driving the change successfully, do let me know. If you are watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you have found this episode on audio platforms, you can comment on social media platforms wherever you have found this episode. And that's it for today. Friends, thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So, we would love to hear from you. Do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback, topic recommendations, and also guest speaker suggestions either through email or through social media. And let's create content that resonates with you. Our email address is theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner. My goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest.